Now, when we say that an argument is valid, we're saying something about a relationship between the statements in the argument. Here's an example of a valid deductive argument that we saw before. All frogs are green, Kermit is a frog, therefore Kermit is green. If all the premises are true, we saw before that the conclusion must be true. But something might strike you as a little bit fishy about this argument. Now, the Kermit that we're talking about here is noted frog Muppet Kermit the Frog, right? We could be talking about someone else named Kermit, but in that case, we don't know anything about him. If we're talking about Kermit, the noted frog-shaped puppet, is he really a frog? No, he's a frog-shaped puppet. And is he really green? And is it really true that all frogs are green? No, right? If you've ever looked at pictures of interesting frogs on the internet, you know that there are frogs in all kinds of colors. Some of them are brown, but also some of them are colors like red, blue, yellow. All kinds of colors, right? Usually the really brightly colored ones, you don't want to touch them. Okay, so it's not really true that all frogs are green. And if we're really being honest, Kermit isn't a frog, he just pretends to be a frog. But is Kermit green? Yeah. Kermit really is green, even though it's not true that all frogs are green. And it's not true that Kermit's really a frog. In this argument, the premises are all false. But it turned out that the conclusion is still true. That can happen in valid arguments. Remember what the definition says. For deductive arguments, knowing that the premises are true guarantees the conclusion is true. For inductive arguments, knowing the premises are true makes the conclusion very likely to be true. If one or more of the premises are false, well, if we have false premises, what can we say about the conclusion? Absolutely nothing. You might think, well, if the premises are true, the conclusion's going to be true. If the premises are false, the conclusion's going to be false, but that's not the case. If the premises are true, the conclusion is also true. If the premises are false, the argument doesn't do anything for us at all. Okay, so valid arguments by themselves don't actually get us very far when it comes to actually establishing conclusions. If we have a valid argument, but some of the premises are not true, that argument isn't going to get us anywhere. So we have another definition of an argument that's even better than a valid one. Even better than having a valid argument is having a sound argument. If we have a sound argument, not only are all of the premises true, if we have a sound argument, not only is it valid, but all of the premises are also true. So that means that if we have a deductive argument, and that argument is sound, then the conclusion is guaranteed to be true. And if we have an inductive argument, and that argument is sound, then the conclusion is not guaranteed, but very likely to be true. So, valid argument means if the premises are true, we know something about the conclusion. In a sound argument, we also know that the premises are true.